Hi, I'm Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com. Did you know, according to Psychology Today, that men are more likely than women to interrupt and to challenge opposing viewpoints in conversation? Why does this matter? Because for many women, that means that we are not heard in conversations, in social situations, in the workplace, in meetings, in team activities. And not only we're not heard, but we're not seen as confident because we're not standing up for our own opinions, our own ideas, and we're not challenging others. It makes us look unsure and sometimes unprepared, even if that's not the truth. But this has to do with linguistic style. And today we're talking about 5 words that women should never use if we want to be heard and seen as confident. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this video, Lingoda. At the end of this lesson, I'm going to share how you can take online live English or business English, Spanish, French, or German language lessons with them, and how you can join their special event coming up called the Lingoda Language Sprint, which is an awesome opportunity for you to improve your communication skills in your target language that you are learning. In every community known to linguists, men and women have different communication patterns. Now, people communicate differently depending on their background, their culture, and their gender, so it's not just men versus women here, but the research is overwhelming that men tend to communicate differently than women. And what does that mean? As women, we need to be really aware of how we're communicating and what that means for our chances at being heard in a situation with men and women and people with different linguistic styles, and how to use this information to get what we want, which is simply to be heard and to be seen as the confident and competent people we are. I have experienced the differences firsthand. Have you? I used to work in an English school with other female English teachers, and we were so nice and kind and complimentary to each other, never challenging each other or criticizing each other. It was a pleasant atmosphere where people didn't interrupt each other. But when I left the classroom, I started my own business and I started making presentations and pitches to investors and other business partners who were not only women, but also men. And then I started getting involved in real estate investing and worked with a lot of men in that field as well. And I still do. And I noticed that my communication style needs to be more direct, more confident and assertive. And it's not just about puffing your chest out or speaking more loudly, although that helps. There are certain words that women use that are making us seem unsure, less confident, and more indirect and overly polite, more than we need to be. In fact, in the workplace, the result is that women often get passed over for promotions because a lot of bosses look for confidence in order to approve ideas or to give the go-ahead, or they look for confidence and they think that that means that you are competent. But confidence and competence are not the same. However, because bosses are often very busy, they often mistake one for the other and just go with the person who appears to be more confident. Our linguistic style directly feeds into how other people perceive us. Now, just before we jump into the first word to never use ever again, I want to ask you to give the like button a click. Make that thumbs up turn blue because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm and helps other people to see this video. So go ahead and click it, give it a big like, and if you're not subscribed here to Go Natural English, make sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. That also helps a lot to grow our community. Now, let's start. The first word that you need to stop using is sorry. This little word is so overused, and the problem is that We use it in everyday situations when we could easily use an alternative that sounds more positive and confident. You see, when you say sorry, it puts you in a subordinate position to the person with whom you're speaking. Here's an example of when not to use sorry. Bob says, "Oh, my presentation was awful." And Mary says, "I'm so sorry." Mary didn't help him with his presentation or coach him. It's not Mary's fault. So Mary doesn't need to say, "I'm sorry." What she means is kind of different than "I'm sorry," because "I'm sorry" is taking blame on yourself. You're apologizing. What she could say instead is, "Next time I'm sure you'll do better. Don't worry about it." So there's a better way to respond in many situations. There are rare circumstances when you should apologize and say, "I'm sorry," but these are few and far between. So it's much better to use a more assertive phrase. Like, let's say you're on the telephone and your battery dies or the signal is lost and the call fails. You get back on the phone with the person you're meeting with. Instead of saying, "I'm so sorry," say, "What happened? I lost you." This is more confidence. This is kind of funny and lighthearted. You see, also when you say sorry, it's a bit of a downer. If you're late, you walk into a meeting late, of course it's not a good thing, but you don't need to say, "I'm sorry." Just either walk in without saying anything or say, "I'm glad I made it." Next, do not hedge. Hedging is using words like sort of, kind of, maybe. These words make you seem unsure because they're vague, they're evasive, they are not certain. And what people look for in leadership or to identify a confident person is certainty. 100% without a doubt, this is how it is. Not "it seems that maybe the sky is blue." The sky is blue, without a doubt. Do not use the verb to feel, to think, to believe. Similar to the last example, we don't need that extra language. In fact, speaking in a direct and clear way often means less words. Less is more. We don't need to say, "I think the sky is blue," or "I feel like the sky might be blue." In fact, if you say this, it might come across as sarcastic or trying to be funny. We really don't need this extra language. And if you're learning English as a second language, you may have learned these phrases as words to use to express your opinion. So how do you express your opinion without saying, "I think"? Well, simply say what you think. Chop off that "I think" from the sentence. If you were going to say, "I think this is a great idea," simply say, "This is a great idea." That's all. You don't need any more words. Speaking of feelings, don't worry so much about how your counterparts feel. Be fair, be honest, be clear, and that's really all you need. There are ways to be friendly, like small talk or making jokes, so you don't have to be seen as someone who is just all business. It's not like that. You just have to be clear. Let's talk about tense and asking questions instead of giving a command. So if I'm speaking to someone who I really, really respect, I might say, "I wondered," past tense, "if you would have a moment to talk with me." This is really indirect and overly polite. And in fact, if someone's your coworker or maybe your boss, they might think that you are being sarcastic, and that's the opposite of being polite. So what is better? Let's be direct and let's make this into a command, such as, "Sit down, let's talk for a minute." Or, "Do you have a minute to talk now?" This is much more direct. And these questions are easier to respond to. They're much clearer. I know what you want, and I can decide to say yes or no. Avoid using modals like "would you have a moment," "could we chat." These are often confusing because they're just not direct enough. So there is an example in a Harvard Business Review article about a female manager who asked her subordinate to help with bookkeeping. But the way she asked was, how would you feel about helping Mary with bookkeeping and billing? And the subordinate thought that his manager was asking him about his feelings and to think about his feelings, when in fact, she just wanted him to help with bookkeeping and billing. So she should have just said, help Mary with bookkeeping and billing. It's direct, it's easy. And you know what? If for some reason he didn't want to help, he could say no. But giving too much of an option or asking people to think about how they feel or would they or could they, it is really confusing for some people who have a different linguistic style. So if you want to be seen as a confident manager, use commands and avoid using modals like would, could, or should. In fact, being indirect can have deadly consequences. In the example of a superior pilot and a subordinate co-pilot, there were icy conditions, and the co-pilot said, "Captain, look at the ice back there." And the captain said, "Uh-huh." The co-pilot said, "Wow, this is really something, huh?" And the pilot said, "Uh-huh." The co-pilot was trying to get his attention about a dangerous condition, but he didn't want to be seen as rude to his superior. But the pilot, the captain was not getting it. Finally, the co-pilot said, just before they took off, "These numbers, they're not right. They don't seem right." The pilot said, "Oh, they're fine." And the co-pilot let it go. He said, "Yeah, they're probably fine, maybe." And then they took off, and the plane crashed, and of the 75 people on board, only 5 survived. I think you can see that communication and linguistic style are extremely important. Not every conversation has life or death consequences, but we have to be more attuned to our linguistic style. Some people, men or women, may be more used to a more indirect communication style. They pick up on hints. They would know that the co-pilot was warning pretty strongly 3 times, but in an indirect way. But other people who have a more direct communication style do not pick up on this. And I'll tell you right now that in the North American workplace, we do not respond well to hints. Look at the way that your boss, your manager, your CEO communicates. It's probably in a direct and clear way, leaving little doubts or confusion about what they really want or they mean. So we need to communicate in this way, the way our boss communicates, the way the CEO communicates, if we want to move up, if we want to be seen as confident, if we want to be heard by those people who use that kind of communication style. You need to use the right words and not use the wrong ones. Practice makes perfect. The next time that you're speaking, take note. Are you using the word sorry too much? Are you using would, could, should, I think, I feel, I believe, maybe, sort of, kind of, sometimes it seems? Are you being more indirect or overly polite, maybe more than you need to? Catch yourself, stop, and don't feel bad about it, but just make a note of it so that next time you can have a phrase ready to use instead of sorry. Maybe it depends on the situation, but as I mentioned, if you're late to a meeting, don't say sorry, say, "I'm glad I made it." It's true, it's just a different way to communicate, and it seems much more confident. It's important for the workplace to come across as confident because that's how people put their trust in you, if you are confident in your own self. If you're not confident, or if you don't appear to be confident through your communication style, it's very hard for other people to believe in you. Practice interrupting other people in group conversations. It might feel difficult to jump in if you're not used to this kind of communication style, but trust me, it's not rude. When you interrupt, you're showing that you're engaged, that you have some idea that you're excited to share, and that you're confident about your ideas. Of course, you can observe the communication style of the other people in your meeting or at your workplace, because even different workplaces have different communication styles. So observe and then copy the linguistic style that you see used around you. To recap, do not say you're sorry, do not hedge, do not use words like sort of, kind of, maybe. Do not use verbs like I feel, I think, I believe. They're unnecessary. Don't use modals like would, could, should. And do not use overly polite verb tenses like I wondered if you would. Instead, let's replace these with the present tense, with commands, with something more positive and confident, like the examples that I gave. Practice sharing opposing viewpoints. You can start with something small that really doesn't matter, like how you drink your coffee. Someone says, I drink my coffee with sugar and cream. You can say, are you serious? I drink my coffee black, and that is the best way to drink my coffee. Be clear, be direct, be assertive in your communication. Don't be afraid to share your viewpoints and share your achievements, to talk yourself up. Sometimes you have to be your own hype man, to share your achievements, your skills, and what's unique about you. So this is something that we need to practice more and more, along with practice interrupting and challenging other viewpoints. We can do it in a friendly way. If you disagree with someone, it doesn't mean that they're not going to like you. In fact, it will probably mean that they will respect you more because you stand up for yourself and your opinion. So even if you change your mind later, it's okay. Just do it with confidence. Speak your mind, be direct. Don't beat around the bush, as we say, with indirect language, and you will be seen as more confident and you will be heard. You've got this. Make minor changes to your linguistic style and you'll see the result in no time. Speaking of seeing results in no time, let me share the Lingoda Sprint with you. It takes around 66 days, or a little over 2 months, to form a habit. The habit of practicing English, business English, French, Spanish, or German at Lingoda. And that's why we have a special event. Lingoda is hosting the Sprint, which is 3 months long. Learn a new language intensively and effectively at the #1 online live tutoring school, Lingoda. You have the opportunity to become a sprint or super sprint champion, getting 50 to 100% of your money back, depending on whether you do the sprint or super sprint. And you get free access to the Cambridge Speaking online test to assess your speaking level. The sprint is 15 lessons per month, and you get 50% of your money back if you complete that. And the super sprint is 30 lessons per month for 3 months, and you get 100% of your money back if you complete the agreed upon number of lessons. This is an insane opportunity. It is such a great chance for you to develop your fluency, to have a kind of immersion from home or the comfort of your office or anywhere with internet. Lingoda has a flexible schedule, so you can study on a Sunday like I do when I'm learning Spanish with Lingoda. Their tutors are expert native speakers with prepared lesson materials, so you know what you're going to practice. And their small group sizes really help you to get more practice time. And the teachers are very nice and helpful with their corrections and suggestions for you to improve. So if you're looking for a live, online, and immersive experience, I highly recommend that you try the Lingoda Sprint for 15 lessons a month or Super Sprint for 30 lessons a month for 3 months. Now, more than 30,000 language learners have participated in the Lingoda Language Sprint event, and they are experiencing awesome improvements with their language fluency. You could be one of them if you haven't tried it out yet. A lot of people from the Go Natural English community have shared that they have taken Lingoda lessons and experienced positive outcomes like more confidence in their speaking fluency. You can join the Lingoda Sprint at any level, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. They have classes that work for you. And with an average size of 3 students per lesson, you will get plenty of individualized attention. The next sprint is starting September 23rd, and you need to sign up by the deadline of September 8th to join. There are limited spots available, so make sure that you sign up now to reserve your spot. You can save 10 euros by using the voucher code below in the description. Either the Sprint or Super Sprint require a 49 euro deposit and a monthly tuition fee. But Lingoda will refund your monthly tuition and your registration fee if you simply complete the Sprint or Super Sprint as agreed upon. It's simple, there's no tricks, you simply have to take your lessons, which is what you want to do anyway. If you're still unsure, then why don't you check out their Instagram profile at lingoda_official to see how their sprint works for many other students who have posted their reviews there. Seriously, try this out. It is a great opportunity to get an immersion experience from home anywhere with internet. Just make sure that you do sign up before September 8th using the link in the description, especially for Go Natural English community, to get a special discount on your registration fee of 49 euros, knocks it down to 39 euros when you use the coupon. So thank you again to Lingoda for sponsoring this video and hosting the awesome Sprint and Super Sprint event. We've been partnering for years now, and I have heard so much positive feedback from the Go Natural English community about this event and participating in it and building their confidence, practicing things like interrupting other people in small group conversations or sharing an opposing viewpoint, challenging someone else's opinion, or asking difficult questions. Practice your confidence in another language today and try it out. Now, next, I'm going to share a lesson right up here about how to improve your confidence in English. Remember to click on subscribe and the like button to make sure that YouTube loves this video as much as you do. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.